Hi and welcome to the Crochet Circle. My name is Alex and in today's video I want to show you how to make a letter Y. So as you know from before or each of my letter videos, first I'm going to show you how it's going to be done. So let's say this is kind of a letter Y. So the first part is going to be just chaining 8, doing 12 rows up. I wrote down 21. It's 12 rows up, and then a bit of increases on the left side and on the right side until here. Then I'm gonna continue with one side up, and then the other part will be doing the second arm of the Y. So don't forget, all the important timestamps will be put down, like the beginning, the first arm, the second arm, doing the second Y and joining those two Y's together. So it's all in the description below, just like the pattern, the diagram for the letter Y, it's also in the description below. But if you have any trouble reading that pattern, you can definitely watch this video, because I will explain how the increases are made, how the decreases are made, and hopefully you're going to be able to do it nicely and fast. Well, not fast, but yeah, I hope you will enjoy this video tutorial. So before I get started, I need my crochet hook, some scissors, some needle, some filling for my letters, because my letters are gonna be a bit more puffy, and I'm gonna be using my red cotton yarn because this letter is part of my collection, actually part of the project that I have to do, and it will spell out Merry Christmas. So now this is the last letter of the Merry, and afterwards I have to do a few more. Well, to be honest, to do all the letters I still have a lot of them to do, but I'm just gonna be doing them one letter at a time. Okay, now I can definitely begin. So I'm gonna begin with chain 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the base, like with all my letters. Now I'm gonna do chain 1 to go one row up and single crochet till the end. So it's gonna be 8 single crochets. One, two, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I need 11 more rows like this, so I'm just gonna be crocheting 8 single crochets up in each row until I get 12 rows, and after the 12th row there will be slowly getting some increases on the left and on the right side. It will be a timestamp to show you how it's done, but an increase is just 2 single crochets in one stitch, and afterwards I am also gonna need some decreases, and a decrease is just not knit but crochet 2 single stitches together. It is like I often use to explain how to do 2 stitches a decrease. It's just in knitting they would say knit 2 together, so in crocheting is just like crochet 2 stitches into one. I am gonna be using with decreases just for the first stitch. I'm gonna only grab the front loop of the previous stitch that I'm decreasing, and the second one will be a full one. It looks much nicer and it's not that bulky, and you cannot see the decrease that much. So those are just some things that I did want to explain to you, but now let's do those 12 rows of the beginning of the Y. I'm just gonna double check if I still have 8, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm still on a good way. I know a lot of you said that my tutorials are really long, but I want to show you from start to finish how it's made. And if you want, you can definitely just use those timestamps in the description below and just either move forward or go back if you missed something. So it's crocheting in real time, and for me crocheting takes time. So if that means that my tutorials will be 2 hours long when doing these letters, well, unfortunately that is how long it takes. I'm just gonna count how many rows I've done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I need 2 more stitches and 2 more rows, and then I'm gonna start with the increases. Now this one will be the 12th one. After I finish this one, I am just gonna again double check if I have 12 rows. Just the other time. Well, I'm gonna count first and then I'm gonna talk. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. So this is now will be the first row where I'm gonna do increases. So I did a chain 1 to go up 1 row, and I'm gonna do increase on each side. So in the first stitch I already made 2 single crochets, and then in the last one I'm also gonna make 2 single crochets, and at the end of the row I will have 10 single crochets in that row. So yeah, the next row is actually the next 2 rows are normal, so that means just single crochet all the way along. I saw on Twitch, where I'm also streaming, if you didn't know. It's something I started because it's something doing these tutorials and preparing them in, for the future, but something different is just streaming and putting things live up. I know I could do that on YouTube as well, but I don't think I'm there yet. So for now I'm gonna practice on Twitch. And yeah, on Twitch when I was looking, some other lady, she had like a really nice pink row counter, and she had it up here on her finger, and with each row that she did, I think she had to still click, but it was counting her rows, and I found it really interesting. So that's that 2 done. Now I have 2 rows of increases. So it's gonna be an increase in the beginning and an increase at the end. So that's the increase in the beginning was done. I'm gonna have now 12 stitches after I finish, and in the next one, when I finish, I'm gonna have 14 stitches. Now again, an increase and an increase on the other side as well. So that's the last one. I need to do 2 in to do the increase. Now I have to do 1 normal, so that's just single crochets all the way along. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14. Now the next one is an increase, so that means again 2 at the beginning and an increase also at the end, and that is then the base of the Y done. I'm gonna then move to the first arm. I know my letters always have arms and legs, but I don't know how else to say which part of the letter I am gonna be doing. But this is one of the easier letters because it only has like 2 parts that I have to do. I just made myself some tea and it's still really hot to drink. So this was now an increase, and now I'm up to going into 1 arm. So 1 arm is gonna be an increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now it's gonna be a decrease. So altogether I should have 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. And this is going to be the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And again on that side, when I'm going to be doing it, it's going to be increase on this side, and now it's going to be increases and decreases. Yeah. So now I have to do another row where I put a decrease on the inner side. So the inner side is gonna be this side, this is gonna be the outer side. So on the inner side there are always decreases, on the outer side there are always increases. And there should be 8 stitches whenever you count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and an increase, that means 7 and 8. Now it is time to do a normal one. Oops, I forgot to chain 1. Now just so you know, I am gonna be doing a repetition of normal one and a decrease and an increase 3 times, and on top there's just a normal one as well. So this is now my first normal one. I know it's not the best way to describe it, but that's just a row with no increases and no decreases. And now I have a decrease on the inner side and an increase on the outer side. So that's the decrease done. And now the increase when I come to the last stitch. And I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stitches. Perfect. So this is my first one done. I'm just gonna put a mark down that I've done it one time. So now I'm back to just single crochets. I didn't like this one because I kind of split the yarn, and if I can avoid it, I am gonna avoid it. So that was the nice one. Now a decrease on the inner side. So that was a decrease, and now an increase on the outer side. That's the last stitch, and in this one I just do 2 single crochets. So that's round 2 done. I need one more round like this, so this is just the single crochets. And now it's gonna be a decrease on the inner side. And an increase on the outer side. And that is gonna be my third one. Then all I have to do is another row just of single crochets, and the first part of the letter Y is done. So this is my last row, just single crochets all the way till the top. I'm gonna do a chain 1 and cut the yarn. So the first part of the letter Y is done. Now I'm gonna go to the second one, and I'm gonna start at the end. So here it's gonna be an increase on this side, because on the other side I have a decrease. So that's chain 1, and in that same stitch just do 2 single crochets. So that's 1, 2. As you can see, I am kind of having this tail of the yarn. I'm leading it over the stitches that I'm gonna be making, so I don't have to work it in afterwards. So that's 1, 2, 3. That's the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and the last stitch is actually a decrease, and that's it. Now up to the next row, it's the same. It's a decrease on the inner side and then an increase on the outer side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8 is an increase. So that's the first 2 rows done. Now I have to do this, so it's 3 times a normal one. Again, I know it's not the best name to call it, but it's just, you can definitely comment below and say how I should just let you know that it's a row where you just repeat the previous one with the single crochet stitches. So now I have to do a decrease on the inner side, and it's gonna be an increase on the outer side. And the first one of 3 is done. Now again, just doing single crochets, and I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And now doing on the inner side is a decrease, and on the outer side is gonna be an increase. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8 is gonna be an increase. So that's the second one done. I need one more round of these 2 rows. So first I'm gonna do the single crochets one, 8 of them. And then on the inner side there is a decrease. Again, for the decrease, I just from the first stitch I just take the front loop, and then on the back from the second one I do go through both. So that's a decrease and an increase at the end on the outer side. And up to the last row now, and this is just gonna be single crochets all the way, so it's gonna be 8 single crochets. So as you can see, I'm gonna just do a chain 1, cut the yarn, and that's it. As you can see, the letter Y is really fast to do compared to some others, right? And I can also, actually I won't cut off this yarn. I'm gonna cut the yarn and work the yarn in after I do the second Y, and when I'm gonna be joining actually those Ys together with my white yarn. Okay, so I'm gonna begin with the second one. Again, the base is chain 8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Chain 1 to go into the next round and do single crochets. That's gonna be 8 single crochets. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the last one should be fine. I just want it to go through 2 strands of yarn, not just one. So in here, and this is now the 8th one. Okay, now I need 11 more rows like this, so just single crocheting until I get to row number 12. In the 13th row I am gonna start with the increases, slowly getting the number up so that it can then divide into the 2 arms that the Y has. I can put it here so you can just see it perhaps while I crochet as well. So I'm on row number 4 now. Now row number 5. Row number 6. I can actually not believe how fast the first letter Y was done. I was expecting it to be just a bit longer because of the increases and decreases, but yeah, it's pretty awesome to be doing it in this kind of a pace. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 4 more rows to go. Now this is the 10th one. The 11th one, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I'm just gonna count if it's really 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now this is gonna be the 12th one, and then I'm gonna do an increase on the left and on the right side. The increase just being 2 single crochets into 1 stitch. So afterwards I'm gonna have 10 stitches. So this is now the first row of increases, so it's gonna be an increase in the beginning and then an increase at the end as well. And afterwards it's gonna be 2 rows of just single crochets. So that was an increase at the end. Now just 2 rows of single crochets. So 2 rows of 10 single crochets. That's the first row done. Now the second one. Now it's gonna be 2 rows of increases, so that means it's gonna be 2 rows of increases at the first stitch and in the last stitch. And after that, first row I'm gonna have 12 stitches, and after the second row I'm gonna have 14 stitches. Now I'm at the last stitch, so I'm just gonna do an increase. And now the second one, again I'm gonna start with an increase and I'm gonna end with an increase, and it's gonna be 14 stitches. Now I have to do one more normal row of 14. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Now another row of increases, so that means an increase in the beginning and an increase at the end. Now I have 16 stitches, and now I'm gonna start working on one of the arms. So one of the arms, the beginning is on the outer side, it's gonna be an increase. So I have 1, 2 stitches. Now I'm gonna do 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the 8th one is actually gonna be a decrease. So I have 8 stitches now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and on the other side I should have 8 stitches as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. So another row of decreases on the inner side and an increase on the outer side. Now I'm at the last one and it's an increase. Now I'm back to this part where I have to do single crochets and then an increase and a decrease, and I have to do it 3 times. So I'm gonna start with the first one. It's just 8 single crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And now it's gonna be a decrease on the inner side and an increase on the outer side. So I keep the number 8 stitches in a row. And that's my first one of 3 done. So I'm just, putting a mark down that I'm done with one. Now I'm up to the second one, so I'm just doing single crochets. And now a decrease on the outer side and an increase on the inner side, and that will be number 2 done. And then I need one more, and I'm almost at the finish of the first arm of the second Y. So now I do just single crochets. And now I do a decrease on the inner side and an increase on the outer side. So I have to do 2 single crochets in here, and I'm at the last row where I just have to do 8 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. chain 1. Now I'm gonna cut the yarn, pull the yarn through, and as you can see I have one arm done. Now off to the second one. As before, I'm gonna start in the end and I'm gonna do a slip stitch, a chain 1, and it calls for an increase, so I'm gonna do 2 single crochets in the last stitch. Then I need single crochets and the last stitch will be a decrease. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, I am putting the tail over my work, so the yarn is already worked in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now the 8th one is a decrease. So from the first I just take the front loop, and then from the second one I take through both loops. Okay, so that's row number 1 done, and the next one is again a decrease at the inner side and an increase on the outer side. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8 is an increase. Okay, now I'm at this part again where I have single crochets and an increase and a decrease, and I have to make it 3 times. So first it's just single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now on the inner side is gonna be a decrease, and on the outer side it's gonna be an increase. So I'm keeping the number of 8 stitches in the row. If I would be just increasing on one side and not decreasing on the other side, I would get more and more stitches, like we did, for example, a few rows down. So yeah, keep it symmetrical, 8 stitches. And this is my first one done, so I'm just putting a note down that I've done that. Now I have to do a decrease on the inner side and an increase on the outer side, and that's the second one then done. So I need an increase here, increase just 2 single crochets in one, so that's the second one done. I need just one more of these, so one more of 8 single crochets and one more of a decrease on the inner side and an increase on the outer side. So a decrease on the inner side and an increase, it's gonna be on the outer side. And now just doing single crochets in each stitch. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's the 8th one done. Okay, I can now cut the yarn. I don't need the red yarn anymore. So I'm gonna just put it away, and I'm gonna take my white yarn. Actually, before I begin this, I need to finish what I started, so I'm just gonna, I don't need these parts anymore as well, so I'm just gonna kind of get them out of, yeah, I can leave this one. So all I want to do now is get the yarn more into the center of the letter. I'm just gonna go through a few stitches and that's gonna be it. So this one is kind of on the wrong side. I just have to bring it on the other side. This one is already worked in because I was working it in while doing the first row. So this is the back side. All the loose ends should go into the back side. And the starting tail. You could, you know, work it in more, or if you're gonna be using just one letter for your crochet letterings, you can do that. Then you have to work in the yarn properly and you have to kind of cut it so you don't see it, but because I'm using two letters and I'm joining them together, that means I can just hide all the loose ends in to my letter. So this is gonna be the front side. So I just have to get all the stitches on the back side. And just the starting yarn. And that's it. So how to assemble it? You put it face down, back up, and the other one is back down and face up. So it's like this. You have all the loose ends in. Now I'm gonna start in the top left corner, but you can start wherever you want. I'm just gonna be doing single crochets all the way along. You can use yarn that is not that is in the same color as your letter. What I'm doing actually is, you're gonna see it in the end, I want to have an effect that it kind of looks like it's snowing on my letter. So that's why I'm using this contrasting white yarn. And what I'm also doing is I'm making like really small loops in all the corners. So when I put the yarn through, or the threads through, when I'm gonna be hanging these letters up the wall, I'm gonna have like a small loop where to put the yarn or the thread through. So I always do this just before my corner stitch, as you can see. And now the corner stitch is just single crochet, chain one, and then do another single crochet in the same stitch, and that's how I turn the corner. Now I'm gonna be doing single crochets in each row. If usually the letters, because the letters are the same, you can kind of, once you go through the front of the front letter, the second letter kind of just aligns, and you can really easily go through both, because they were all made with in the same pattern with the same amount of stitches, and yeah, should be fine working with it. So all I'm doing is just double checking the back side, because I'm getting this pattern so I don't lose a row or something like that while doing it. But even if I would lose a row in the back, it's on the back side and it's not gonna be seen if there is something missing. So yeah, this joining together is just single crocheting in each row in the last stitch. I think no, it should be fine. Okay, I am at the corner one. So in the corner one, to turn the corner is just chain one and do a single crochet in the same one. Again, I am doing a chain 2 to get those loops for my yarn to go through. You don't have to do it. You actually don't even have to do 2 letters if you don't want to make them puffy. You can just use 1 letter and it's gonna be fine as well. 1 too early, so I need 1 more single crochet. Now I'm gonna do a chain 2 and this is gonna be the last one. Again, turning the corner, chain 1 and a single crochet in the same stitch. And now just single crochets again in each row. I am just putting the loose ends in so I don't grab them while I crochet along. The letters, even if you don't stuff them, they look really awesome when you just put 2 letters together. But I am gonna put some filling in just to make them a bit more puffy. I'm almost at the corner stitch, so this now is my corner stitch. To turn the corner, I'm gonna do a chain 1 and a single crochet in the same one. I'm gonna do a chain 2 for my loop. Again, you don't have to do it, you can leave it, and if you're gonna kind of have a fishing line or something like that, or yeah, just some locks or something like that to put it on, then you definitely don't need those loops. So I need chain 2 and this is the last one. Now I'm gonna turn the corner, chain 1 and a single crochet in the same stitch. I think I can get rid of all the loose ends slowly. I'm just stuffing them in because they shouldn't be outside. Okay, now let's work the row, the side down. It is a bit awkward to hold on, but just with patience it can be done. It goes really easy in the rows where I had the single crochets, where I had the decreases. It's a bit harder, but you can still find the hole to get the yarn through. Now this is gonna be the last one, and to turn the sharp corner I'm just gonna do a slip stitch in and another slip stitch in, and now I'm gonna work the second arm up. I'm gonna stop for a bit because I'm gonna put some stuffing in. Yes, I still have it in my bag, I didn't put it out, so it's a bit noisy. I'm gonna put the stuffing first into the arm. Okay, now I'm gonna put some stuffing into the body, if I can call it like that. Me and my strange names where to put the, or how the letter is done. Okay, that's gonna be enough. Now I'm gonna come all the way up, and almost at the top I am gonna finish with stuffing the letter. So yeah, what I do try is just go in each row and join them together with a single crochet stitch. Now I am at the last one. I have kind of a small hole, but I'm still gonna be able to fill it in. Hopefully, I should. Yeah, it's going, it's fine. Just a tiny bit more, and this should be fine. Perfect. Now, as I said, I am at the corner, so after the corner, was actually to make the corner is chain 1 and do a single crochet in the same one. I'm gonna do a chain 2 for my loop. Again, you don't have to do that if you think you don't need it. I did try it also, to be honest, without the loops, and it does come out okay because it's still single crochets, and you can see you still have holes to put quite a thick yarn through it. But because I started my Merry Christmas series with the loops, I am gonna continue with them till the end. So that's the invisible seam stitch. I'm gonna just work it in a bit, and I want to come to one of the holes because I am gonna make a knot. So that's the end tail, and this is the starting yarn tail. I know it's a bit short, I should probably leave a bit more, but it's gonna be enough to make a knot. It is a bit tighter knot because once I pull the letter or stretch the letter, this knot should be inside, not visible. Yeah, like this. And this is on the back side as well. So now I'm just gonna pull the yarn in more, cut the excess, and turn the letter Y. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to get notified when I get something new, don't forget to subscribe. If you like the video as well, you can click that like button, and I hope to see you soon. Happy crafting!